Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kerry and today I'm bringing you another short spoiler-free review. So today's review is of Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This has been going around Booktube, it's very popular, so you've probably already seen a lot of reviews for it and you've probably already read it. But in case you haven't, this will be spoiler-free and I'll let you know some of my thoughts about it. It's the first in a series called The Legacy of Orisha. The second one is due out March next year, I believe, and it was inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, although it is a fantasy novel, but you can see how the themes of oppression particularly run through this novel. So the main storyline is that it's set in the land of Orisha, where there used to be magic, but this has been mostly eradicated, and the people that have the potential to wield magic, called divinas or diviners, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that, they are now oppressed by the Cosidans, who don't have that potential, and particularly by the king, who has a hatred for all of the diviner people. Magic is believed to have been eradicated until one day a scroll turns up which is able to awake this latent ability in the diviners if they touch the scroll. So the main characters of Zélie, Tsane and Princess Amari have to take the scroll and go to a sacred island and perform a ritual, and that should restore magic to the land. But they're pursued in this by Amari's brother, Prince Inan, who has inherited his father's hatred for the divinas and wants to make sure magic is completely eradicated. So there are some scenes of violence in this novel, some scenes of torture, which are not written in too graphic detail, but some people might find that upsetting. The structure of the book is there are three narrators who take turns in telling the story, so that's Zélie, Amari and Inan. I really enjoyed the triple perspective. I felt it really added to the story to hear the thoughts and motivations of the different characters and really helped to explain where they were coming from, and to me that was really important because of a lot of the stuff that happens in the book, to have their different views on their motivations and just how the story develops. I thought that was a really clever way of structuring the story, and to me it really worked very well. The magic system in the book is very involved but also quite simple, so I thought it was really well thought out. Essentially there are 10 clans of magi, so a magi is what a diviner becomes when their magic has been awakened, and each of the clans have specific abilities. So they have, for example, Zélie is a reaper who has the ability to use the spirits of the dead to create, they're called animations, and they help her with completing tasks. They're also healers, burners who can control fire, welders who can control metal, and connectors who have power over other people's thoughts and dreams. There are several others as well, and I'm sure as the series goes on we'll hear more about the different clans and what their abilities involve. What I thought was a very clever idea was that the diviners don't know what their power is going to be until it's awakened. Traditionally that's happened around puberty, but since magic was eradicated it's now happening as soon as they touch the scroll, and there is a hint that it might run in families, so Zélie's mother was also a reaper. As I say, really well thought out magic system, I thought. In terms of the characters, I found them all really likeable. Even when they were doing some things that I didn't agree with, I still was rooting for them. All of them, even the ones with quite different motivations, I wanted them all to come around to good, and I'm interested to see how they continue to develop in the rest of the series. And I also appreciated the details about the king's backstory, because sometimes in sort of dystopian fantasy literature the bad guy is just set up to be a bad guy with no explanation as to how they got there or why they're so against everything. So in this case there was backstory given about the king and why he hated the magi so much, so I thought that was really helpful. The only thing that I found slightly irritating about several of the characters was they did have a tendency to guilt trip themselves, and so if they did something they considered wrong then they go on about how stupid they were to do it and how they were letting everyone down and all of this, and I'm like, you're in a really difficult situation, give yourself a bit of a break, love, really. And so I found that a little bit irritating, but other than that, they were all very likeable characters. So in summary, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I was being a bit generous because it's not a perfect novel by any means, and there were moments that I found a little bit irritating. Ultimately, I enjoyed it so much. I was about maybe a third of the way through it yesterday, and this morning I woke up and just read the rest of it in one sitting. I couldn't put it down. So that was what gave it the extra star for me, was just that urgency to finish it. I just needed to get to the end. I needed to know what happened. I've heard that some people didn't quite like the romance aspect of the story, but for me that worked. I understood why and how it happened, and yeah, so I highly recommend this. If you're one of the few people on Booktube that hasn't read it yet, where have you been? Go out and read it. It's really good. If you've read it, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and all my social media links will be down below as well, so you can follow me on Twitter or on Goodreads, or check out my blog, which I still haven't got around to updating, but I will, I promise. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!